What about in older patients? I think we always fear bleeding in the older patients. And so I think these are some data we could go through in Medicare populations of what is the state of play there.
Yeah, so
And
I
then,
think what you're suggesting is true, that we sort of hesitate a little bit on our older patients. And I mean, in Medicare, pretty much everybody's 65 or older. And when we look at that group, we're down about 50%. So as opposed to before, when we were looking at everybody and we were hanging out in the 60s, for Medicare population, it tends to be under 50%. And it actually does vary by race and by sex. So that for those people who were getting any anticoagulation therapy at all, only about 40% of them were using NOACs. And if you were African American or Black, it was less than 30%, which is a little bit, just a little bit shocking. And you think, oh, that's a one-off study, and so maybe that's just a one-time thing. But there was another study that was done among healthcare centers affiliated with Northwestern in Chicago. So they looked at their data from 2011 through 2017, and they found that if they looked at all their newly diagnosed atrial fibrillation patients using their CHA2DS2-VASc score of 2 or more, that only about half, so like 49% of them were on any type of oral anticoagulation. About 40% of them received NOACs, and there were racial disparities in their prescribing also. And so just it sort of gives you pause. So there's a bunch of studies that sort of reiterate the same thing. Things that sort of, if you're living in an urban area versus a rural area, if you've got higher education, higher income, certain things that just put you at a higher chance of getting a NOAC and sort of widening the disparity gap, which is something for us to pay attention to.